the coast of Lake Erie. It looks like, not
That's
saying
right.
that it's not pretty. It's not Lake Michigan. I mean, it looks like California. You have cascading mountains with trees and sand dunes. We did the sand dune thing, which was maybe the most fun you could have on four wheels. It was unreal.
Yeah.
Cruising around. It was like a roll. It felt like it should be a ride at an amusement park. It was so fun.
So great.
It was great. So we had a great time up there. We had a great little Airbnb. And then on the way back, we were able to stop and we hit up the cottage just outside of Ann Arbor and did basically 3 days of tubing, because Bryce is basically, and this was the first year he went full time on his stomach and was like, all right, we could bring it a little bit.
You could wreck me, Dad.
No, and every time you get on, he's a little cautious. Let's not go crazy. But then as soon as he's on there, and we have so many pictures. And I think it's true of everybody who's tubing. You're just smiling from ear to ear the whole time. It is the most fun you could ever have. And I did a ton of tubing. It was great.
It is. Yeah. There is the threat, enough threat of danger to give you a little bit of nervousness. Like,
sure.
Like being thrown isn't always the best time ever. Off one.
I had one that really. I got my neck pretty. I was sore for a few days.
We've all had one where you.
Yeah.
And then crumple and.
So the lake, it's not a huge lake, but you have certainly enough room to tube and whip people around and do donuts and the whole deal and get it going. But it's, as I said, small lake, so you would need wind to create real waves.
Okay.
Or now that it's become super popular, the wake surfboard, the wake surf boats.
Yeah.
Well, those make enormous waves.
Right. Because for people who don't know, that you legitimately surf behind a boat on a lake.
Like as close to me
as they're right behind it.
Yeah, they are right behind it on a wind. They're doing and they seem to have
looks
fun.
like you're having the best time ever.
It looks. I'd rather tube. I would say, because you're not really going fast.
Listen,
you're kind of just like,
at my age, I'm not learning a new skill. Like
right.
I'm not
right.
I'm sure that if there was a time and somebody said, "Boy, here's an access to surf. Would you like to surf?" Yes. It seems like it's the most fun ever.
Do less. That's my
too late.
secret. Yeah.
It's too late at this point.
For sure.
Yeah.
So what was fun about that was that thing would go, and there were probably two of them on the lake some of the times when we were going. So that would make crazy waves. So we had a couple where full on just launchers where you went. One time I bailed myself because I basically rode this wave up and it felt like 100 feet in the air, and I just flipped off myself and just jumped off. But it was awesome. And then you guys saw the pictures, so we had that. We had great fun. Turns out the sous vide, real handy to bring on a trip like that up to the cottage. I had to make ribs for many, many people.
Oh, I like the thinking here.
So I brought it, and we actually ate at our Airbnb a couple nights. So we was able to take care of everything in there, and you could just kind of set it, forget it, go back to the beach.
Yeah, I like that.
Which is actually really a nice,
really
convenient
a great
thing.
Use of that. Yeah.
Yeah, we were tubing while we were sous videing ribs for 6 hours, and it turned out to be it was a delight. But then we got back, and then the creme de la creme was on my birthday, the prime rib. It's
incredible effort out of you.
So I made a couple of adjustments that I'm willing to share with the people.
Okay. Get your pens out.
So it was about a 7-pounder, 3 bones, and shout out to Teray, my guy, the butcher at the Heinens. I had ordered one, and he's like, actually, here, I got 2 for you to pick from. And I was like, well, which one do you like? Not telling me. So I picked it. He's like, that was the one. So, and it was a beautiful piece of meat. So we went, got it home, covered it in the Penzeys prime rib rub in the fridge, uncovered overnight. So that helps it kind of like, I don't know what it does, but it does something.
It works, yeah.
That's straight from Pedro. I said, you got to do that. Okay, fine, done. So I had been kind of doing the first sear in a cast iron. Mm-hmm. But I like to put my rub on it, which is a lot of olive oil, probably like 8 cloves of pressed garlic through a garlic press, and then a little salt and pepper. You don't need much because the other rubs got plenty, and then fresh thyme, fresh rosemary chopped, and you make that into a paste, and then you just like
lather it up.
Oh yeah, the whole deal. And then I take the long knife and I make a few incisions and slide some cloves of garlic into various places, and so I found that when I was doing it in the cast iron, that would burn my herbs too much.
Oh yeah, you get a burnt herb,
and you don't want to burn.
You don't want burnt herbs. No,
nobody wants.
That's always tricky. Like, how do you get the sweet spot where you get a sear, but you don't get all black? That's a hard needle to thread.
I decided a lot of people reverse sear. They call it a prime rib, so they start super high and then they go low. So why don't I just do that? So I threw it in the oven at 475 for 15 minutes, crisped it up beautifully, herbs totally intact.
Yeah.
Then into the bag, 6 hours, and I bumped it up to 131.5, which I enjoyed. And then this was the new thing that I'd never done before. So then we took it out of there. I dried it down. And while it was almost done, I took some ghee.
Yeah.
Butter. In this case, it was butter, but I would like to use ghee butter. And then fresh rosemary. Melted that together to make like a rosemary butter.
Okay.
That I brushed over the whole.
You lathered that sucker up, didn't you?
Over the whole thing. Then back in at 475 for another 10 to 12. And it came out, and it was probably when I cut it. I mean, I almost cried.
Yeah, just
Miss K had it on the gram, the video of me.
She's an incredible documentary.
She's insane.
Ken Burns weeps.
If you follow her, you were with us on these trips. Like, you missed nothing. Absolutely no detail was left done. But so that was the final, that extra little brush, and it was a delight.
That's gorgeous.
It was a delight.
It looked so indulgent. I just loved seeing it. It made me so pleased that was happening on your birthday. Gibby, how'd you do? You do all right?
Survived, man.
Survive in advance.
Survived. Got a couple rounds of golf in.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Do you have a baby? There it is.
We got a bit of a loose cord.
Dude, I just replaced the microphone.
It's something in that cable. There's something in the cable. It's the
this
connector.
Area. It's this.
I think it is taking you a whopping 8 minutes to screw it up.
I'm not sure he touched it, to be fair. And by the way, this is
back.
exactly how we should be back. Is
We're
what
back.
I do. What I do. Because, quite frankly, I didn't even see a brushing.
Yeah, this is outrageous.
I did not see
Good.
it.
I'm already back, and you're already giving me grief. Perfect.
Yeah, that's
8 minutes in.
That's how
microphone's not working. Worked perfectly fine for the last 2 weeks. Anthony Posel didn't have any problems.
Well, that's valid.
Yeah.
But I don't know that that is as engaged with the other apparatuses that Z is.
Yeah. Come on, man.
This is also true.
Yeah.
Fair.
So that's
no.
So you did good. Everything was good?
I mean, I got in a couple rounds of golf. I had the kids' grad party yesterday, so I spent the week getting ready for that.
Oh, there you go. There you go. And that went off well. Everyone was
everything
pleased
went. Everything went great. It was a long week getting ready because it is a process.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
You know, I kept asking the wife and kid how many people were actually invited to this, and both of them kept walking away from me after I asked.
Did you get a number?
No, I'm pretty sure we were close to 200 yesterday.
Jeez.
I was just going to say, and
there's
before you
nothing
even
small.
said the number, I was going to say, you don't ever have a party or anything in my mind that I could think of that there's less than 150. There's food there's food for 1,000. There's beverage for 1 billion. It's just that's the way that the Gibbe does it.
I was definitely surprised at the amount of adult beverages consumed in a Sunday open house.
Were you, though?
I was. There was a reason why we did it on a Sunday afternoon between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m.
I think that Ohio in the summer, all bets are off on Sunday. I really do.
When it's 80 degrees and beautiful.
Yeah, I just think that in the summer, people in Ohio are like,
we've got to live.
Let the blank. We got to live.
We've got to live.
Bottoms up. Have your best life. I feel like that's kind of where we are.
Yeah. Did some fireworks. Played some golf. It was good. I am the person that when I'm on vacation, I need to go somewhere. I don't like to just sit around my house.
Yeah.
I do that year round. Like I don't I need to go travel. I like Zegura's idea. I also like if you got away for like 5 or 6 days and then came back for the final 4, that I could deal with that. Like you're getting away, you're doing something.
Your feeling is that if you don't leave, you're just going to do what you already do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you end up with a honey-do list.
Yeah, you have lists of things to do. Yeah.
I had a great staycation. It was really terrific.
Well, but you did the other thing first.
I did the other thing first. Yeah,
that's what I mean.
You do that first, and you come back in.
By the way, I got to give one more quick story. So we're up in Muskegon, and we found like some awesome spots. As I said, we cooked a couple nights, but Miss K wanted to find like the finest dining that Muskegon has to offer. So we go to this place, and no names, please. And it's in like the Marriott, which was a nice looking Marriott. It had a Starbucks. My kids were, this place must be good. There's a Starbucks here. Meanwhile, they were like, they were so bummed that the Starbucks was closed at 8 at night. They were like, wow, we want Starbucks.
No, you don't want Starbucks at 8 o'clock at night.
They don't even drink coffee. They don't drink coffee.
They want snacks.
They like Bryce gets I think a chai tea latte.
Yeah, that
And
cost you a mortgage payment.
oh my God! Every time we go there, it's like I'm like, how is this $20?
Yeah.
And Arden gets she likes the pink drink, which
There's something called that, right?
The mango dragon.
no, it's just called pink drink.
Pink drink. It's like a strawberry
Milkish
milk stuff. Yeah.
It reminds me honestly of
sounds
the blue
gross.
and the green drink at Star Wars Land in Disney World.
No point of reference on that, but it kind of reminds me of like the quick, like the Nestle's quick milk.
Yes,
That's
like a strawberry milk.
is what I think it kind of
That
is.
doesn't sound
rabbit,
appealing at all.
The rabbit
Strawberry
running
milk's
around.
pretty good. It's kind of
It can be good,
but yeah, that's it. That's what you got to do.
So we go to this place. We sit down, and I'm already kind of like laughing. I'm like, okay, this is it. You just knew.
You could tell.
You knew, like,
Yeah.
okay, this is maybe the okay. So we sit down. The waitress comes over, and we got a couple of apps. We got some ribs that actually turned out to be great. So I'm like, all right, we're off to a great start. So then are there any specials? Yeah, we have prime rib. And this
Wonderful.
is before
your prime rib.
Pre my prime rib.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fantastic. Just so happens that I love prime rib.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me. Size, price.
What am I looking
whatever.
at
What are
here?
we looking
Yeah.
at here? 10 ounces for $22.
That doesn't sound right.
No, it doesn't. It sounds quite wrong. Okay.
I think you're way off on the ounces portion of the program. Not to mention the cost.
So I say, okay, we go around to order. I'm like, all right, I know what I'm doing here. So I said, just want to confirm again. And if you need to go back, that's fine. But like, it's $22 for the prime rib special.
Correct.
She's like, yep, 100%.
Okay.
Okay, all right, fine. So now when the bill comes, I can say
62.
we've discussed.
Right.
Because I'm ordering 2. Duh. It's 10 ounces.
It's 10 ounces.
Of course I'm ordering 2.
Of course you are.
So I think 2 for $44. That's great.
What a
20
steal.
ounces. I feel very excited about
For
this.
sure.
So I order the prime rib. As soon as it's time to come in, and Miss K had ordered a fettuccine. They called it a seafood fettuccine that was in a like a spicy, like a Diavolo sauce, like a spicy
creme.
a blush sauce
Mm-hmm.
that was to have lobster, king crab, and shrimp in it.
This is going.
Okay. What she got was the closest thing I've ever seen to mac and cheese without lobster, without king crab. They were nowhere to be found in the proceedings, and there were the word shrimp applied to the 3 shrimp that were in there. So that was that. Miss K was not, and ended up making her sick because it was so just like
too
cheesy.
Just creamy.
It was just
yeah, that's not going to be a win. Yeah.
Bryce is always fine because he orders noodles with olive oil. Oh, these are great noodles. Wonderful.
One bite, everybody knows the rules. You should
Arden
do the
gets
noodle
a Caesar
guy.
salad pretty much everywhere. She loves Caesar salad. Sometimes she'll get chicken, she'll get shrimp, steak, whatever. She got that. They gave her bread chicken. So the girl, nonetheless, no complaints. She just rolls with punches. So then here come my prime ribs. 2 hands. And what appears to be on the plate, from as far as I am, I feel like I've just hopped into a time machine. I've wound up in a cobbler's store, and there's a couple of leather soles lying around.
Oh, no.
So the irony was they did ask me what temperature I wanted my prime rib. I said medium rare. Okay, what came out was as thin as this paper, okay? And it was, to quote the great Jim Ross, who's been on this program, it was tougher than a $2 steak.
Oh,
so,
no.
At this point, we're just like, we're all laughing about it. We're laughing about it. And because the meal was so bad, it spawned what turned out to be the most fun game ever. So Nana, the sweet Nana, always wants pictures of everything we're doing. Every day. Send pictures, send pictures, send pictures.
Well, the good news is you have the biggest PR person for your family a family
ever.
can have.
Right. Well, she could access them off of Instagram.
They're all there.
It's all there. So we were in the midst of this meal that we're just kind of laughing about and having, just it was what it was. And turns out that's why it was $22. And even then, I felt like I got robbed pretty good, which is neither here nor there. We decided that we would test Nana a little bit.
Okay.
Test Nana. And so what I mean by that is, so we sent her a picture from dinner that we were at.
Okay.
And then we sent her another picture saying this one was like outside the restaurant from a dinner where Bryce was actually wearing the same hoodie, so it kind of worked, where Nana was there from our vacation together in Florida. That Nana actually took the picture. So we send that one to her. Nothing. No response. Like, wait a second.
Yeah.
So then as the trip goes on, we start sending her pictures from when we get to the cottage, from the cottage that day, but then also from the cottage 3 years ago. where Bryce is clearly younger. We sent her a picture of me pulling them on the tube with a totally shaven face, and then one me hugging Bryce later when
it's all the same.
with the full beard. Nothing. So we think this is like the funniest thing. We're having so much fun. Now
Dying.
we're really pushing the envelope, trying to make it like we sent her our goodbye picture, which were 2 totally different pictures. Boom, boom. Nothing. So we get back and we're sitting with Nana, and we go, Nana, we're all concerned about you.
Yeah.
We're playing euchre, and we're all concerned about you right now. Ness, you'd see the wheels start turning. I was like, but we're going to talk about it later.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it later. Oh, you tell me right now. What's going on? Why are you so concerned about me? So then Arden is dying laughing. So we break down for what we did. We had told like Kayla's parents because we sent old pictures of that, like all stuff that
it's all
the visual evidence is there.
Yeah.
Like if anybody's gone to the bars and they've ever played those spot the differences in the pitcher games,
yeah.
like you're nailing this. Okay? So we explained to her, she's happy that we're not really concerned about her, that there's nothing really wrong. And she says, I just look at the pictures for you guys to be smiling, and that's all I look at. Now, meanwhile, Bryce is now, like 5'10".
Right.
And one of the pictures, he's like 5'4" and doesn't look anything like he looks right now. It's like, he was smiling.
He was smiling.
And then she's like, who cares? She's like, so what? Who cares? She did. So we enjoyed the joke much more than she did. We were having so much fun trying to pick pictures.
She never, ever even noticed that it was different.
And even when we pointed it out to her, she's like, who cares?
What about you, Bishop?
Yeah, let's get into the Beau Bishop extravaganza.
Oh, we're good. We can roll right through it.
Yeah, we're good.
We're going to get to the news in segment 2 that everybody wants us to get to.
Yeah, all right. Okay. I worked. So I did the other job.
You had obligations.
So I worked. So I did that most of the time. But I would say that the most significant thing that happened over the course, everyone had a great time. We were up at the lake, 4th of July. That was wonderful. Z's birthday. We celebrated that with fireworks and stuff. I would also say one thing that I picked up is that fireworks aren't quite the same for my kids as it was for me. For me, I was in awe of the fire. I just couldn't take my eyes off them. And I don't know if we're launching them off more now than we did before.
Hot take, overrated. I'm not even interested anymore.
Yeah, I think it's really fell flat. Like they were kind of over it real quick. Like, okay. And I don't know if there's just more stuff. I don't know what it was. But I remember as a kid, like sitting in the back of a pickup truck in Choteau, Montana at the rodeo and watching the fireworks and going, this is God, my God, who's capable of this?
Yeah.
How can you do this? And to them, it's like, okay, great, on to the next. What are we doing here? So that was my big kind of hot take from the 4th of July festivities. But that was all wonderful. It's been a good week. We had a combination of like rain and then weird like things that I had to do. So I had not played golf at all. I really hadn't played. And I've told you, I haven't really swung full, in a year. So last night after dinner, I tell Amy, I said, "Look, I'm gonna go play. I'd like to go play, and I'm just go by myself because I didn't think the kids would want to go." So my oldest goes, "Well, Dad, do you mind if I go?" Of course not. Let's go, dude. This is this is the whole reason we're there is for this, to go do this. So we go out there last night. So there were actually a lot of people out, which goes back to I think Sundays people just ignore it. Like a lot of people having dinner, a lot of people still at the pool, music. Boozing.
Oh yeah.
Like it was 6:45.
Should be winding down.
Yeah, no.
Quite the opposite.
Not. And there were a lot of people out on the course. Still. And usually at that time, you just go. But I'm a savvy guy, so I'm like, you know what? Let's go. We're just going to go straight to. There was somebody on 10, nobody on 11, nobody on 12. I said, let's go to 12, and we got a little buffer.
Beautiful.
And we'll play our way around. We'll play the last 7 holes, and away we go. So we played our first hole from 150 out, first swing. We both card 4s, and he's good enough now where he hits a driver about 150, and he hits it straight, pretty much every time.
It's half the battle.
Yeah. So he goes, "Do you mind if we keep score?" No, I don't.
I love it.
Okay, let's keep score.
Yeah,
I like the idea of that. That's fun. Let's keep track. I think that's important. We'll count all the strokes. Let's see how it does. So I say, okay, well, I'm going to play. I'll play from the member tees, and I will tee you up at the beginning of the fairway. Wherever the fairway starts, you'll play from. Okay. So on some of the holes, and you've been out there, I think you've been out there too, some of the holes, like one of them he was playing from 271. So it's a haul for him,
150, you're still 3 figures out.
Yeah,
sure.
Boom, boom. So we both card 4s on the first hole. The next hole, par 4, I bogey, He gets a 4 from 269.
We're down 1.
We go to the next hole. I get a bogey. He gets another 4.
Down 2.
Go to the par 3.
Someone's sandbagging.
Go to the par 3. I make par. I hit it to I actually missed a birdie putt. From like 5 feet. I missed it. Sucked. He's off, but still makes bogey. Like I mean, it was crazy. Like he had a pretty salty little chip shot, and it was nuts. So I'm going, wait a second here. 4, 4, 4, 4. I'm all over the place. So I'm up 2. He's up 2. We get to 17. I put it in the water on 17. My approach goes in the water on 17. It comes out further, and I always think I can get it, and I never didn't make it. It goes in the water.
Was that the Simsy hole? No,
No,
18 is
that's
the long par 5.
Yeah. 17 has got it's almost like a boomerang. You got to hit. Remember, I kept telling you guys play a lesser club.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're going further away. You really want to land at the bottom of that tree. So we came out, and so we get to 18, and we're tied at 18. So I had made up a hole on 16. I made up one on the par 3. We get to 18. Now, I am not good. Okay, I'm not. But for the sake of the entirety of these last 7 holes, I had 36 in the last 7 holes.
Okay.
So it's breaking
pretty
100 is where I'm at.
And you were
I haven't
teeing
played.
off after
I'm
the
playing
first hole,
member
you played
tees.
like the normal tees.
Member tees the rest of the way.
Okay.
We get to 18, par 5. I hit a garbage. Now, full stands now because the people are eating.
They're
That's
watching.
the whole porch.
Yeah.
So that's all there. And when you suck, the last thing you want to do is hit and play in front of people.
And the green's pretty severe, if I recall.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. And then,
That's
so there's
10
a big crowd there.
9.
I hit it right, and I go, oh, my God, I'm in real trouble here because he's going to tee off from 220 yards out. And if he keeps this up, by the way, he had hit like 8-foot, 10-foot putts. Like, doesn't even stand over him.
The boss of the moss.
Just steps up there. Donk.
That's how my
clink.
kid beat
I
me
go,
for the first time.
Good God, man.
Couldn't miss.
My second, I don't even know how I did it. And now I hit my first one right. We get in there. I'm kind of in the trees, and he goes, Dad, why don't you just curve it out of here like you did the last one?
Yeah, a little cut.
I said, well, I didn't mean to curve it the last time.
How do I do that?
How do I do that?
Where
So
is that on the controller?
I actually hit a rescue club pure to about 140 out.
Okay.
So I'm in good shape.
Yeah.
Right? I'm in good shape. He hits his drive down. He's just short
Where's
of
he teeing off from?
He's teeing from 220.
Okay.
He doesn't hit it clean. He's probably now like 100 out, but he's like on a fairway bunker. And I said, dude, hit your rescue. You're like 110 out. Hit that rescue club in there, and away you go. Right? Well, he goes, Dad, I don't want to hit the rescue club. I'm like, I'm telling you, I think this is the club. So he duffs the rescue club. So now he's really pissed at me. Yeah. I told you I didn't want to hit it. So then he hits his 7-iron. So we get to the point where we're on the green, both putting for a 5. Okay. I'm 12 feet. He's 10. Okay. I'm side hill, kind of a bendy. Full crowd. Yeah. I had to chip up to get it to there. I was proud I didn't blade it. He did the same thing. So we're both in the same spot. So I hit my putt. I missed it by an inch.
Yeah.
High by an inch. Just right
on the pro side.
On the top side.
Yeah.
Yep. Settles 6 inches. Tap in for my 6. I'm going. I that's as good as I've played that hole in 3 years. The kid's sitting at a 10-footer. So he looks over in front of the crowd. He's like this, like staring at it, like looking at the line.
Can I take
He's
action
studying
on
the
it?
line.
Can I take action
right
on this?
It, like this.
Can I take action on this?
It's a sideways bender.
Give me money on the kid.
Goes through all of this. Steps up. Boom. Boom. Nails it.
Wins.
From 10
All right,
foot.
what was his reaction? Did he give a fist pump?
It was the sweetest thing because he was so emotional that he had beat me at something because he hadn't. This was his first victory. So he's just thrilled with it. God bless him. He took his hat off like to shake my hand, you know.
I love it already.
But he was sincere. Like
Yep.
he wasn't being a punk. He wasn't being chesty.
Nope.
It was a fist pump, and he took the hat off, and he had the biggest grin on his face, and he shook my hand, and he goes, Dad, I really thought you'd be more mad. And inside, I'm just like, oh God, this happened way too soon. Like this happened way too soon. But acknowledging, of course, I'm not good, and he's decent, really decent. And so I told him, and this is the only thing I was proud of for the entire time I was off. I said, buddy, I am so proud. I'm so happy for you. I hope you beat me at everything. I hope you're better than me at everything. And he gave me a big hug, and then he got an applause from the people
from the
eating dinner.
crowd.
And then the guy behind us goes, "That's a hell of a putt!" It was great. It was great. It's over. I shot 36. He shot 35.
Does he want to do some junior golf? Does he want to play?
He should.
He should.
He should. Yeah, he should. I don't know. He does it a little bit with me, and but he's been playing since he's 2. He's been swinging since he was 2. So it was a big, proud moment. And then he goes, "Dad, can we go to the bar? Get me a drink."
Yeah. Let's go to the bar.
Let's go to the bar.
Cocktails are on me.
Cocktails on the winner for sure.
Let's get a Roy Rogers for you, buddy. Let's round that up.
I love that. It was
great.
Oh, it's so good. It's fun. I was able to get 4 holes in yesterday with Arden, but she was not interested in playing. She was fully it's so funny to me. The thrill that, and she's 14.
Yeah.
From just driving the golf cart.
Yeah.
She just loves it.
Yeah.
So she just drove me around. But it's so fun to get to be out there.
It's awesome.
It's the best.
It was great. It was a great
That's
time.
a great story. So did he?
It was.
So this morning. Was there any comments at breakfast?
He had a couple of little things here and there, but it's okay. It's all right. Don't get too chesty.
Yeah.
The thing is it's only going to get worse for me and him. He's only going to get better. I'll get a little bit better, but I've always had a theory with golf. If you pick it up late, unless you can dedicate a ton of time to it, there's no way that I'm ever going to shoot 78. There's no amount of work I could ever do to shoot 78. The most I can do is shoot. At one point in my life, I was mid to low 80s. That was the best I've ever going to be. I'm never going to be better than that. But he's going to live between 78 and 85. That's where he's going to live, having grown up playing it.
It's a nice place to live.
So you're never going to.
From a business standpoint?
Yeah.
It's just a good. That's why I tried to get Bryce. I said, "Boots, just take the summer, play your games in the morning, and then take 2 hours a day and go learn how to play golf."
No, it's just it's awesome. As you know, it's a walk in nature. The weather's great.
You're with your boys.
Yeah, it's fun.
It is fun.
That's why I told 80, I'm like, just keep playing. You don't have to play every day.
Yeah.
But if you play
keep swinging
a couple times a week, anytime you want to go to the range, anytime you want to play.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good.
I'll come and you can beat me and win all my money because that's when you show up is when there's money on the line.
That's right.
That's right.
So we didn't miss anything last week, did we? Do we have anything to discuss?
Well, when we leave, nothing's
happens.
happened.
Nothing ever happens.
I've been on a couple of vacations here, and I'm pretty sure nothing of
no
consequence
news.
happened.
No news. We will discuss the no news coming up next. We're off and running. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Buying or selling a home with Howard Hanna Real Estate Services is always a winning strategy. If you plan to make a move this season, we're going to have you covered at Howard Hanna. Every day is game day. Visit howardhanna.com/GoBrowns today. So what someone asked me this week, like, were you surprised that we traded Baker Mayfield? No. Was I surprised that it happened that week? Yes. Yes, I was. The NFL was off. I was a little bit surprised that was the week that it happened. But it felt like there was only one real dance partner for it. It felt like that was the only place it was going to happen. And it was just a matter of all of the things that had to get done to get it done. And what needed to happen to get it done was us pay a portion of Baker's salary, Baker to take back some of his own money in the deal, and then a compensatory fifth round pick that could be a fourth, a conditional pick in 2024. So that's how it happens. I started this show his rookie year. Okay, so that is 6.
There's been a lot of things that haven't aged well.
That was 6.
Yep.
That was pure joy.
Yep.
That was all of that. World's team.
Hug him.
All of that stuff happened that year.
By the end of the year, 4 horsemen.
4 horsemen by the end of the year. When you try to put together his 4-year run here, it's funny. Somebody said to me, well, is he a bust? Absolutely not. No, he was not a bust in any way, shape, or form. There were some incredible highs and some moments of, holy cow, this is what it feels like to be in the NFL, man. I mean, there were a lot of those. That no one's going to forget that Thursday night. No one's going to forget that 2020 season when it all went right. But there were also some crazy, bizarre moments. The 2019 game in Denver with all of that nonsense. I mean, there was just some weird stuff that happened too. And I think, it started to drift, obviously, in 2021 from both sides' perspective. And it comes to the position where you have to trade him. But I think you can be incredibly grateful for what he did, and also at the same time be incredibly understanding of how this was the end game and how it had to be.
Totally. And this is the first time we've gotten to talk about it.
Yeah.
I didn't, obviously I didn't tweet much. I thoroughly Baker Mayfield was so important to this franchise's ability, I think, to kind of pull itself out of the doldrums that it was in, because he was a guy that had unbelievable confidence. Some people would say irrational confidence. You talk about the guys who come off the bench and they can make every shot, and he felt that he could make every throw, and he comes out in his rookie year. He sets the record for the most passing touchdowns ever by a rookie. Now, of course, there were the other parts of this, but I go back for me personally, and I think about week 16 at home rookie year. It was December the 23rd. It was our final home game. He throws 3 touchdowns. You knew they were going after the record. They beat the Bengals. That's where I got – it was my screensaver for a long time, the post-game interview with them, and the applause. And like you like to talk about, my wrestling watching days allowed me to
let it breathe.
Yeah, let me just let it sit for a second. But, that was pure joy. And then 19, it just goes off the rails. We all know it just did. And, that's one of those things you think would work out didn't, and then you go to 2020, in comes Stefanski, in comes this magical year, the second half of the season, as we talked about so many times, 20 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, you win the playoff game. He runs the quarterback basically end around to secure the playoff berth. Then you go there, the comeback in Cincinnati, and then his games against Cincinnati were all pretty darn good. Especially in 2020 when Odell went down, he throws the 5 touchdowns. He throws the touchdown to DPJ to win that one. We go into Tennessee, remember, and they were hot.
They were hot. They were a pick.
Smoked them.
Yep.
In that one, he throws for 334 and 4 touchdowns. Then you have that insane Monday night game against the Ravens where they come up just a little short, but he had 343 and 2 touchdowns. It was... The highs were so high. The lows, obviously, the disappointments of 19 and 21 were there. I think that, you look at what he meant here in terms of just, I think, the force of his personality.
Yeah.
And it's a force of personality that was, when things were good, was great and everybody loved it. But when things weren't as good, I think it wasn't as well received. And it's unfortunate. I think that the Browns are in a better spot for having Baker Mayfield here. But I think they were also cognizant of the fact that in order to achieve their goals of winning the Super Bowl, much in the same way that the Rams would say the same thing, right? They were better off for having Jared Goff in their program. Now, he did take them to a Super Bowl, but that they knew we needed more at that position to achieve our goals, which is to win the Super Bowl, and then they get Matt Stafford, and they do that. Now, that doesn't work out for everybody, but now with Deshaun Watson, you're certainly in that conversation. It felt like after 18, there's no way we would have ever have gotten here. You know, it just felt like that's something that would not have been possible that we would ever be here. And as 19, when they said, okay, maybe that is, but then 20, nope, we're back. And then 21, okay, here we are again. We clearly need to be better. And it was an injury, plagued season, obviously. But this is the thing that stood out to me the most about the trade. Baker Mayfield is a significantly better quarterback than a lot of people who are starting in the NFL. Now, does he have the ceiling where he's going to be a guy that you win because of? You can win with him. We did it in 2020. Mm-hmm. Is he ever going to be a guy that you can win because of? I don't know in the NFL, and I hope it works out for him in Carolina or wherever, if this is just a pit stop, wherever he ends up. But the notion that this guy could only fetch, and there was one buyer, and Justine Anderson said Seahawks were interested, and I would imagine if she's saying it, it is true to some degree. That he had to eat salary. The Browns had to eat salary. I mean, this is a guy that for $18 million when quarterbacks are being paid 40 and 50, doesn't even feel like that bad of a deal for somebody who wants, for the Atlantas with Mariota, for New Orleans, which he's going to have a chip on his shoulder that's going to motivate him. Week 1, if he ends up winning the job, which I would expect that he would.
Yeah, I would think so.
Is going to be bonkersville from just the way we've seen how the Browns handled Hughes' first game with Cincinnati. Like it's going to have
from our perspective, it's going to be a crazy situation.
From his I would say through his eyes.
I mean, our fan base.
Yes,
I'm talking about. Like it's going to be an emotional roller coaster for our fan base. Seeing that. Yeah,
and I think it's going to be. I think it's what a fun way to start the season.
That's fun.
It's going to be fantastic. Yeah. But we are lucky to have had Baker Mayfield. It can be both true that we are lucky to have had Baker Mayfield, that he is the best quarterback we have had wear this uniform since Bernie Kosar, but that it's also true that they needed to upgrade that position to be a perennial Super Bowl contender in an AFC that's got Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen and Justin Herbert and Russell Wilson and Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, and I think I'm even missing somebody off the top of my head, Derek Carr, whatever. Yeah. That's just the way that it is. And so I certainly wish him well. We had some fun times with him. I'll never forget, when you said, I'm a Heisman voter. Yeah, me too. And we had fun with some of the various things. And the fun and it flowed kind of with the good. There was more fun.
Well, we haven't seen him the last couple of years.
No, COVID and then, the last.
We haven't seen him the last couple of years. We saw him a lot his first year. He was in here three times that first year. The last time that I think you and I interviewed him for something was the thing that we did around the schedule launch, which I think was in the COVID year when he was on the boat in Austin. That was 2020. He's
little Browns Live schedule release.
Yeah, so it has not been on this. We have not had him on this show since 2019 in terms of in here to talk to him. We used to see him in the building and stuff, and then obviously with COVID we didn't. A couple of things. I've tried to – I mean this as genuinely as can be. And you can't say this without it coming across as being taking a shot. Trust me, it's not. Because the highs are really, really high. He's a tremendous front runner. When things are good, he's awesome.
Yep.
He is awesome. When things are bad, it's bad. And that's what happened. The amount of times that on this show where we would say stuff, just watch the All-22. When we would say that, we would say, go watch the All-22. Like it was all there. The stuff that was and wasn't was all there. You and I would say the amount of times that we've got to upgrade the passing game. Like, we've got to be better in the passing game. We've talked so much about this notion of, okay, when everybody knows you're passing, can you pass? Right? So all of this is the Goff is an appropriate comparison, other than the fact, Goff, the Rams went to the Super Bowl with Goff, but it's the same thing. Like, there was a level of what you could do here, and it felt like you were up against the ceiling of it. The other thing that I think is really interesting, he deserves a ton of credit for coming around in 2020.
No doubt.
Because at the end of 2019 and into the up until that comeback in Cincinnati, the start of that Cincinnati game, I didn't know if he would make it through that year. It was bad. The start of 2020 was bad.
Really bad.
And the start of that Cincinnati game was bad.
Yeah, it was the pick.
Bad. And we were like, I'm like, wow, I don't know if he's ever going to be are we ever going to see what he was in 18 again?
Well, because it was coming off of the Pittsburgh game, which was
a disaster.
Drubbing.
And 19 was rough. It got worse as it went along. And I thought, my gosh, is he broken? But he didn't. He rallied with Stefanski's offense and his ability to play at the level that he did. The 20 touchdowns, 2 picks we talk about all the time. He deserves a ton of credit for putting that year together with all of the obstacles that were there, because they were substantial. They were substantial.
Yes.
I think the thing that happened for him in terms of the market is in the NFL right now, there's 3 ways of looking at quarterback. We have a franchise quarterback that we can go win a Super Bowl with. And it feels to me like there are more of those now than there have ever been. It feels like there's 12 of those in the league.
All right, so off the top of our heads, AFC, Mahomes, Watson, Burrow, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. It feels that way.
Deshaun. Did you do Deshaun?
I have Deshaun, yeah. Russ, and Derek Carr. They committed to him. Now, he would be, to me,
right. Okay,
slightly
but
below.
You did 8 off the top, and we could be missing
And by the way, we haven't done.
Hold on, I'll get to that. I'm going to get to that because that's tier 2.
No, but we haven't done
then
the
you
NFC.
go NFC, you've got Stafford, Brady, Rodgers. Is that it?
That might be it.
Dak?
So that
Dak's probably in the
It's
in
same
the
with
car.
Derek Carr. So that's 12.
Okay.
Kyler.
Oh, for sure, Kyler. Yeah.
13.
So, okay. 12 or 13, this guy can go win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay? The next tier is we just drafted this guy. We think he can be that. So that's Zach Wilson. Interesting weekend out of him. Trevor Lawrence. Justin Fields. Who else?
Jones,
Mac Jones.
Trey Lance.
Yes. All of those guys.
Did you say Trevor Lawrence?
I said Lawrence, Wilson, Fields.
All the guys from last year.
All the guys from last year. Yeah.
And the Steelers would probably say throw Kenny Pickett.
Yeah,
into
those type of guys.
But they play Tua.
Yeah, Tua. All of those guys.
Yep.
Right? So then there's all those guys. And then the next thing is, the next thing that you want to be, those are the 3 things you want to be, is we're going to be really bad so we can get C.J. Stroud. And that's what Seattle is. And that's what Atlanta is. So they don't want to be great at quarterback.
And there's one more little tier I'll sneak in where I can get you to the playoffs, but I'm not quite sure we can do more than that, which is Tannehill, Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins.
But what my contention is those guys are what you don't want.
Well, yeah, that's
like
Andy
what
Dalton
Baker
all those
is.
years.
And that's what 6 is.
He's not even
not as
Tannehill,
accomplished
Cousins,
as those. No.
Ryan yet.
No, he's not as
Ryan
accomplished as those guys. But
right.
that is the tier you don't want to be because you're limiting what you can be.
He feels
and
like
that's the hard part.
He could be
it's
what
Andy Dalton
what
used
good
to be,
Andy Dalton was.
Jeff Garcia used to be. Those type of guys.
And they won a lot of divisions.
They won a ton of games.
No playoff
Baker
games.
won a playoff game. He won
in Pittsburgh.
Come on. But this league doesn't want that anymore.
No, it's treading water.
So you have those 3 tiers. If you don't have one of those 3 tiers, then you don't want to be the other part.
Right.
And I think that's what hurt him.
And I think he and Goff are the 2 guys that are better than the Mariota. And Winston's probably in that group too from what he's flashed at times. But then, and then you're in purgatory though.
Right.
It's a tough place to be because those guys will play well enough for you that you could you could get to the playoffs in a best case scenario, right? But more than likely you'll be picking far enough back that you won't get one of the guys.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's a tough place to be.
And there used to be a time in this league where those guys were all over the league. You think about
league.
Jim Everett, Dave. Like when we were kids, Jim Everett, Dave Craig, Bobby Hebert. Like there were a ton of those guys that were good enough to keep you between 7 and 9 and 10 and 6.
Yeah.
But for many teams, that was enough.
Yeah, staying competitive.
Keep us in the mix.
Yeah.
Make the playoffs every once in a while. Well, now the NFL has a different mentality around it. The NFL now is if we can't win the Super Bowl, then what are we doing?
Right.
And if you're not somebody who we think we can win the Super Bowl with, then we'll go in another direction. And that is what hurt Baker here because he could have been in the Houston deal. He wanted to go to Indy. And at the end.
They want to Matt Ryan.
Yeah. I mean, he's better than Mariota. He's better than Winston. He's better than what I think Seattle is. He's better than all those guys. But the reality is those teams, Mariota, Seattle, they don't want that. Houston would rather say, hey, if we strike lightning in the bottle with Davis Mills, fine. If not, we'll pick one of these kids in next year's draft.
The wild thing is, and while, again, I will reiterate, I firmly believe he is a guy that is one of the best 32 quarterbacks on the planet. He is somebody that when he is at his best has, top 16, top 20 potential, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he played and can have stretches, a streak like he did for the second half of that year where he played like a top 12 quarterback.
Yeah, he did.
His best fit right now probably would have been, just given the whole scope of everything. Look, he wants to go to Carolina, and they got some good skill. They got DJ Moore. They got Robbie Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
They drafted the kid out of LSU last year whose name eludes me. They got Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Terrace Marshall Jr.
Mm-hmm.
So that's his best opportunity. But probably where he fits best in the NFL is because there are really only so many starting jobs, right? There's the franchise guys, there's the drafted guys, and then there's that little group. And the feeling is around the league clearly that he's not Cousins who gets paid. He's not Matt Ryan who gets paid. He's not Ryan Tannehill who gets paid.
Right.
So he's below those guys, but not so bad that you're going to tank with him. His best spot probably would have been as a backup to Brady, honestly, so that in case something happened in Tampa Bay, they have a chance with that cast around him that they could still be really, really good.
I actually thought I said that exact thing to Jake. I talked to him about this like a month ago off air, and I just said, would he be open to that? Or no, it was on air, and he said his answer was, I don't know if he sees himself that way, but I think that would have been the best scenario is Tampa Bay for a year, decompress, watch how Brady goes about his business,
become their starter.
and then become the starter when Brady goes to Miami or whatever he's going to do or retire or whatever. Like, that's the spot. That's a loaded roster. You could kind of see what it takes to be, very stable, like what it would take from Brady. To me, that would be something I could swallow if I were him. But I also understand the notion where you say, well, I'm one of the 32 best. I want to start.
That's kind of what Jameis did when he went to New Orleans.
Yes.
And then last year, prior to being injured, I think they were, 5-1 with him? Or they were good.
They were off to a good start.
They were off to a good start with him, and he was playing well. It's a tough thing because, again, I want to reiterate, I believe he's one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the league. The league is not now we're starting the 32 best quarterbacks in the NFL. That's not the league anymore. The league is, okay, we have these dudes who are locked in. We have these guys that we hope can be locked in. Then there's maybe three, and I'm trying to think in my mind, 3 or 4 veterans that we think we can be pretty good with, even though we know they're not those guys, but they've at least shown at times in their career where Kirk Cousins has played elite football. Tannehill's taken them to be the number 1 seed and played, elite game manager football. Jimmy Garoppolo's in that list. And Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have a job right now. And the last time,
no, he's unemployed.
The last 2 seasons he's played a full season. He went to the Super Bowl and went to the NFC Championship.
But that goes to my point that they don't want those guys. Like, I don't think Cousins would get that money now. I don't think Tannehill would get that money now. I think that the league has shifted even in the last 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Where, like, if you're not a lock stock, we're out.
What's crazy to me, though, is that Wentz was actually acquired twice, and they gave up something for Carson Wentz to get him with the Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
When I think Baker's way better than Carson.
way better than Carson Wentz. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. There must be, I don't know what it is with Wentz, if there's just a measurable thing that people like about him, big athleticism or whatever. I'm not sure what it is.
And at one point, he was on his way to being the MVP of the league.
Yeah.
And that team that he was leading won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles. Now, he didn't play in the Super Bowl, obviously. We know that. But he was, at that point, when he got hurt against the Rams in that game, he was going to be the MVP of the league. We've never seen that again.
Yeah.
We've never seen that again.
Yeah. To sum up the Baker conversation, it's wild that if you go back to end of you had mentioned earlier, you said, in 2018, did you ever think we would be here? No, for sure not. But also in 2019, I never would have thought 2020 was possible at the end of 2019.
No.
Like, it felt like he was broken at the end of 2019, and he came back and was really good over the second half of that year. And I'm hopeful that I would love for him to have success wherever that is going forward. But I think that, and it's funny because you hear people say things like, well, they want to have this conversation all the time. And it's like, look, at some point, it's not an opinion. It's the fact of where the league is. This was the get back. This is the best you could do. He gave back money. The Browns are paying him not to play. The Panthers
made him give up money.
And he actually, They gave up significantly more and are paying Darnold significantly more. The full 18 for Darnold.
Yes.
They gave up a 2 for Darnold. So that's the reality of where he is as a quarterback in the league right now. Doesn't mean he can't play to be a top 16. Doesn't mean he can't have sustained success like he had here in 2020 for multiple years. Who knows? But right now, that's the market.
This is what the league thinks of him and his value currently in the NFL as it's currently constructed. And he has the ability to play his way out of that and to lead in the locker room his way out of that. And I hope that he does. Because Fun Baker's a fun time.
It's a good time, man.
It's a good time.
It's a good time. Yeah, a lot of fun. A lot of fun with him.
Well, that's an hour.
That is. Beau here for my friends at Renew Home Exteriors. From beautifying and protecting your home, it's certainly their passion. Upgrade the look of your home and create a high return on investment. New siding from Renew Home Exteriors, ranging in architectural style and colors. Over 50 of them to choose from. Receive $1,500 and a free insulation wrap plus 0% interest for qualified buyers. In addition, Renew Home Exteriors will meet or beat competitors' estimates by up to 10% or pay you $100. Beautify your home with premium siding and roofing products at lower prices with Renew Home Exteriors. Visit renewestimate.com. Second hour coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Elk and Elk Serious Lawyers, Serious Injuries. Call 1-800-ELK Ohio for a free case review. Elk and Elk is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Couple of things on the you see you missed a lot of this too because this was a lot. I enjoyed this. The logistics of the Deshaun Watson hearings, that was yeah. That was fun.
There's
one
nothing
thing I
to
was
say
trying
until she makes a
we had a
ruling.
I had a couple of rules that we set out on the show. I had one day where I had kind of like a meltdown. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. We kind of had it on air. I'm like, I can't.
Believe it was a Tuesday.
It was a Tuesday. I'm like,
I'm like, we got 3 more shows, dude. Come on.
It's fried.
I think I was riding in the sand.
You're
dunes.
on some sort of dune, and I'm going, this is tough. This was the kind of the ruling that I had on this. There are very few people who actually know anything about this process, truly. Like we had Graziano on, he had a really good handle on the process. There's a couple of people that do. But the one thing I told our fans out there is if you hear anybody saying, this is what I'm hearing on length, if or when or anything, they don't know anything.
No.
Because this is an unprecedented process. The only person who knows is Robinson, Judge Robinson, and if she feels like it, over tea, whoever she's having tea,
that's what
breakfast or lunch with.
Unless you're having tea with her, you don't know.
You don't know. We don't know.
A lot of people think I know, which is
people
so funny.
come up to us all the time. What are you hearing? Nothing.
Nothing. I don't know. I've never talked to Sue Robinson
and guess
before.
what? There's luminaries in this building, like Big L's, who also don't know nothing.
That's right.
Zip.
Zilch.
Nothing out there. So in terms of just a timeline of this thing, Josina with this morning, a lot of this is stuff that we've talked about before. Post-hearing briefs are due soon. We had heard they were due today, tomorrow, something like that.
Florio said specifically today in his post today.
Yeah. From a league source to Josina, we're still looking at a few weeks before we get a decision. It may or may not be before camp. Sue Robinson will take her time on this. And basically, all that any of this is this is up to Judge Robinson. The whole thing. She's running the show. It's a one-woman show.
One-woman show.
The one thing I did say, and I do feel pretty strongly on this based just on, I think the precedent is, I don't know that for sure if the penalty is longer than Watson, the NFLPA can't think that it will be appealed. I would have a hard time whether it's appealed by them or by the NFL that it's overturned. This is a collectively bargained process. Both sides are paying Robinson. I don't know that the look would be good. Like, let's say it's less. I cannot imagine Goodell changing the rule.
No way.
I don't see.
No way. That would be a law. They'd be in lawsuits.
Yeah. So that's where it is.
That is, and I like I said, we all want it to be as soon as possible so that everybody knows exactly what we're dealing with here. And there are a lot of people, it feels like that there's momentum that it's not going to be a long suspension. And there are things that are being reported that would lead you to that direction. Florio said that based on the evidence that was presented, the notion that Watson would take a 12-game offer, which Graziano had mentioned at one point prior to the hearings, he said is laughable. There have been people who have said that there's still a settlement possibility is still on the horizon, but it would come after the briefs have been given, and then that way the lawyers are working on the briefs. Now they're billing all of that, so then they can bill, hey, let's have settlement talks if either side does. Now, it sounds like, again, we don't know, but it sounds like if you piece together a lot of reporting that the Watson side feels like it went very well for them.
Yeah.
And that they are in a strong position. Does Sue Robinson think that it went well for them? That's really all that matters. This is a one-person.
It's one person.
It's a one-person.
Who's never ruled on anything in terms of the NFL. This is the first case.
No. So it looked evidentiary, and then now it's being put out there, which I thought was interesting today to Josina Anderson, that the burden of proof in this is the preponderance of evidence, which means it's just if Judge Robinson believes it's more than 50% likely that it happened the way that it's being claimed to happen versus it's not beyond a reasonable doubt. It's a civil standard, and they say that's a precedent rather than a criminal standard. So, again, who knows? We don't know. The good news is we will know at some point, and it feels like we will know sometime soon, within the next couple of weeks. It's funny. I've seen people say it's coming out on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I've seen it's coming out this Friday. Be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Or who knows? When it does come out, that will allow this team to once again figure everything out. Now, the other part that's interesting is that from Josina, she said that there are only 4 women currently, quote-unquote, at issue in the Deshaun Watson proceeding. The NFL concluded not to pursue 8 of the 12 women interviewed.
Mm-hmm.
A 5th woman the league tried to pursue but never interviewed her. The league scope is currently limited to 4 women. So, again, is that good? Is it bad? I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to figure. That's the thing about this. It's all speculation. Everybody's speculating about everything. And like you said,
Trying to